Someone that just has raw talent has access to these production tools. So I have these ideas and I can now actualize them without needing to convince someone to spend $100,000 on an orchestra. I can actualize my ideas, present them, and people can go yes or no based on the ideas.
The fact that you can now do the same thing and more, much more, on a laptop is a great leveler.
I think technology straight up is a gate that as it opens and it creates opportunities, it also creates other challenges, let's say.
Democratized everything, and it spread everything so wide that just the supply and demand ratio is just so different. Right now, you've got tens of thousands of film composers, as opposed to several hundred.
Ultimately, it comes down to a economics, supply and demand issue. There's, a lot of music out there. And yes, there's a lot of consumption, but because there's a lot of music, it naturally devalues it. When you have a lot of anything, it becomes commonplace. It's not that big of a deal. And some elements of it become throwaway.
So what do you do? At some point, do you start paying people to be in their productions? I mean, how far are you going to go?
We've experienced what the revolution that the technology brought, which I don't know if it coincided, correlated, or caused lower budgets, but somehow movie producers got the idea that they could spend less on music.
These projects are getting squeezed financially, and so they're squeezing the composer, they're squeezing all the elements.
They're always looking for ways to do things in a very cost-effective way. I don't want to say necessarily cheap, because that's not necessarily true. Sometimes they do have money and they want to spend that money, but I would argue that they're much more careful about when and how that money gets spent than, say, we hear that they used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago.
The vanishing budget of film composing is not a great thing. It's a great thing for filmmaking. It means that films can be made more cheaply. So filmmakers are real happy that a lot of the fluff in budgeting, a composer just costs you $500,000.
The bottom line is, if you don't deliver high quality music on time, on budget, you're not going to be working very long.
It's not a choice. You really do have to do it because you're expected to, and you're expected to provide a finished product as a composer.
You have to be so many things nowadays, but you have to be smart, a great salesman. You cannot be shy. You have to be very willing to get into the trenches and be your own agent and advocate.
Suddenly, we're expected to think and be business people, and that we are responsible for the business model of how we're going to earn a living, whereas before we just had to get hired.
The laws have not caught up yet with the technology. We're seeing that in the evolution of the new copyright laws, digital media laws.
I'm not sure how guys are going to make money off of this system.
You used to be able to make a decent living as a composer, and a music supervisor and music editor with a couple of shows, but not so much anymore. So everybody is augmenting their income.
I now actually get as much, pay from writing an opera as to doing a movie. How did that happen? That's insane.
From what I hear from my colleagues who do Hollywood type stuff, it's brutal. It's just brutal on every level. You get more money, but oh my God, it's just brutal.
I mean, I struggle with this all the time. I mean, what can we do as composers to instill value in what we do?
And people who are in trouble are the ones with a lifestyle based on the budgets of yesteryear. The Guerrilla new trying to break in composer should be a happy guy.